Good morning. Builder's Challenge is always fun. This is the first of 4 that are going to be rolling through the day. What we do here is we try to practice hands-on a little bit, and in a fun way, a little bit of what we're studying about in the whole conference. And yesterday, particularly, there was one session that was very well attended that Chris gave on what he calls advanced framing or optimum framing, which is framing techniques basically to save wood and other materials. How to do it so the house still works, is still solid, but we don't overbuild. And so we can economize and save some money. So we've set up sort of a demonstration here. The one thing right away, because you're going to all tell me it's missing, and I'll tell you, we don't have any fiberglass in here. We should, okay? But we just didn't want to bother for a little piece of fiberglass. But yes, the walls get filled with fiberglass, but then the insulation's on the outside. We're going to look at each of these steps and these techniques. But the basic idea, and if you have your manuals for the session, if you go just past the centerfold, there's actually some drawings in here, and we have one of these books at each of the stations that give you dimensions of what we're doing in each of these challenges. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 pages of drawings with dimensions. So those of you who are contestants need to look at the challenge number 1. What we're going to do is basically build this wall section on the floor. And so we're going to lay out the studs 24 inches on center. And you're going to do it exactly like in the book. That's what you're going to get judged on. And so you got to start at the right corner and move along. And you've got to look carefully at those dimensions to see that where is 24 inches on center when we look at the building of the wall itself, is that the first one, any of you who have actually done building know this very well, but those of you who haven't figured it out yet, the first one actually starts from the edge of that stud to the middle of this stud. All right? That's so that when we put a sheet of something up there, it works on centers. You got your 24-inch nailing. The second one is different. It goes from the center of the stud to the center of the stud, from here to there. And then when you get to the other end, there's always something a little strange. So it is important often to start on the right side. If you were at yesterday's session where Chris was talking about putting the trusses on top, you notice we have a single header up on the top here. Normally you have a double header to give you strength, so when you put your ceiling joists or your trusses on that header, it has some strength. The whole concept here is that when we're going to put a truss up on the top of this thing, it actually does not go here, but it goes right over the stud on 24-inch centers. Now, an important detail is the wall on the other side of the house has got to be the studs in the same place. Because if they're not in the same place, the truss doesn't have support. So you can't have it on a stud here and in between the stud on the other side. You've got to be within 2 inches, so very close to that stud on both sides. That's why a lot of details when you get to advanced framing are involved in making sure you've got it laid out properly. You've done a good plan, and you follow the plan. You don't change it as you go. Okay? So you got to be able to do that. So in this case, for everything else to work the rest of the day, those of you who build this first wall have got to build it exactly like it's in the book or like it's up here. If you want to come up and look, you can see that. Now, one of the things that you've always done is put OSB on the outside. And a lot of you know that OSB ends up rotting. It gets mold and mildew and it rots and you get into trouble there. Well, interesting thing with this advanced framing is that this let-in brace, which is part of what we're doing in this first challenge, is the strength for not having the wall move. Okay? So let's just take a look at this little piece of wall that I have on the floor here, and I'll pick this up to show you. By the way, you all have glasses to wear too. When you build a wall like this on the floor and then stand it up, you know very well that it's surprisingly flimsy. It wants to do this. And you think, if my house does this, we're in real trouble. Okay, that's why we put the OSB on, to stop that racking. And so what we're going to do is to let that diagonal in, and it won't move like that anymore. And when you let in a diagonal, just a 1x4 has got a lot of strength when it's boxed in by letting it in, even better than nailing it over the top. So we do let it in as we go. Usually about 45 degrees. It doesn't have to go from one corner to the other. It could be in the middle of the wall. It could be wherever. And what's the total length of the wall, Chris, that you can do with just one, total length of the wall that you can do with just one strap up like that? Is what? Huh? Yeah, but I mean in your wall, you can go 20 feet? How far can you go? With just one of these straps in the wall? 24 at the most. Okay. Because you don't have to do this all the way along. It's not every stud that has to be locked in like that. You make your rigidity in one section, it'll work for 24 feet. If you've got more than 24, you need another one. Okay? So it's really interesting because now we're putting the insulation directly on the outside. You've got your vapor barrier later in the inside, and we'll talk about details and the other challenges about preparing for that vapor barrier. But we have no other sheeting in here, so we're saving a lot of money. This goes on here, and our strapping goes over the top of it, and our siding goes on that. So there are details to all this, and that was covered a lot yesterday, but for our construction purposes, we want to see about building a wall in the floor, putting the lead in, making sure it's square, and lifting it up. So a couple little details. Can you get your camera on the floor here for me? Can you see that enough, or you want to come up? Let's see. Yeah, you can sort of see the layout there. Or you've got shot there. One thing, anytime you want to know if something's square, you can get out your squares, but they're never square, and they never really work very well. Okay, you know that a square's not really quite square. By the way, you ever tested a square to find out if it was square? This is an interesting thing when you go to the store. Where's my square here? Do I even have one here? I thought I had one right here. But we've got squares down in all these kits. You want to grab me a square there someplace? If you're at the store, and this is for our fellows back here in Home Hardware, they always get really teed when I tell people to come do this. You go to the store and you got carpenter squares in the wall, don't buy it yet. You take it over to the counter, the contractor counter there, and you throw it on the counter and you draw a line. Just take your pencil out, draw a line on his counter. If the guy's really good, he's got a lot of lines on his counter already. Okay? And then you flip it over and draw another line. And if they're parallel to each other, as long as this side is straight, your square is square. That's all you need to know if the square is square. And so you'll find that if there's a lot of lines on the guy's counter, he's doing a good job of showing people that square is good and you're ready to go. Otherwise, it's very frustrating working a square it's not square. But in a big wall, a square doesn't do you much good. It's too small. So we're going to take a tape measure. 2 actually be better. You might want to borrow your neighbor's here. When you're ready to line this thing up, I can push this out of shape easily, so it's not square. So where is square? You simply put the tape on one corner and measure it out here, 83 5/8. Put it on the other corner. Well, now my corners have been cut a little bit. Yours won't be cut yet. 83 1/2. So I'm 1/8 of an inch out. Tiny touch, and it's square. You just go corner to corner. If it's the same dimension, it's square. That's the easy way to do it. Of course, that's only if you cut your boards all the same length. Okay? But if all the boards are the same length, that'll give you square. Now we're going to take that, and we're going to take a 1x4. Put it in, ideally at 45 degrees or close to 45. I don't have that on this little model just because we wanted to make a model to show you. But you start kind of in the bottom. You go up to the top plate, or at least very close to the top plate on the side, but here, like we have here, from the bottom up to the top plate. You could take a chalk line and chalk line that out to make your marks. Don't do it. Why? Because your 1x4s are never straight. Okay? So you make a perfectly straight guide, you cut perfectly straight lines. You've got to bend the wall to fit the 1x4. So you take your 1x4s and you number them. And if you look real close, and I'm not sure you can see that here, there's a number on this board. You got that? There's a number here that says 2, and that says 1, so I should turn this over. There we go. So I got 1 here, and 2 there, and 2 there. So this board is going to go in this place. I lay it out the way I want, and then I take my pencil, and I actually use the board itself to mark where we want to cut. Okay? And that way, if the board goes like this, I don't care. It's going to be a perfect fit, and the wall's going to be square. Okay? So don't go crazy about trying to get things too straight, too measured just right. Do with reality. We get the wall really square on the floor, and we put the board in wherever the way it is warped, and then when we sink that in, it'll keep the wall right there. That's what we want. Now we're going to take your circular saw, and I had to fight to get these circular saws here because everybody's worried you're going to cut a finger off, so please be careful. Please do wear glasses and when you're working this. And there is one other caution, is that while you're, let's do this really right, is that I want to adjust the depth of this blade. So I'm going to put my finger on the blade. So I'm going to unplug the saw. Okay? You don't think about that with a circular saw, with a battery-operated circular saw. But it's all so easy to pull a trigger while your finger's in the wrong place. So we're going to unplug the saw while we're going to adjust this. Now what we want to do is go just the depth of this board. So let's see. Is this the camera I should use? Okay. So if you just drop this down and set it on there, then we can actually do the lifting of this height. Let me find my adjustment here. And so then we lift this right up so it just barely goes through the bottom down there and tighten it down. You don't want it too much extra depth, but you want to make sure you're at least through the bottom. And that way you've got it. Now we're ready to plug the saw back in. That may seem a stupid little thing, but after you cut one finger, you'll do that all the time. Okay? You may have to cut a finger first to get it going, get used to that. Okay. All we're going to do is come up here and do some slice. You know, by the way, these little 6 1/4 inch saws, it may frustrate you the very first time you buy one and you take it home and you think it's all backwards. Because normally your shoe is out on this side. So you can stand here and hold the board and it's steady. And if I want to cut the board off out here, well, there's nothing holding me. It's not flat. Because these things are actually mostly made for cutting the edge of 4x8 panels, and you can walk along the panel and do it. They're actually reversed, what we call left-handed saws, or what we'll call panel saw. Some of them now are on the market that are small and have the shoe on the other side, so they sell both. So that's why sometimes the shoe is over on this side, sometimes the shoe is on this side. For standard work, you stand here, you're right-handed, and you cut like this. If you're a left-hander, that's a pain. So you buy yourself a left-handed saw. But if you're doing panels and you want to walk around the edge, you see, with a regular shoe and you do a panel, you got to reach out like this to get across. But with this shoe, I can walk along the edge and do it. Okay? That has nothing to do with our walls. Back to work. So what I want to do is simply cut some slots here. Now, when you're going at an angle, if you've never done this before, the guard gets in your way. That's why they put a handle on the guard here. Because it's literally, you can lift this up safely. Because your fingers stay up high here. And it allows you to get started without the guard giving you trouble. And once you're into the wood, you can let go. So as I start here, that guard is going to catch and give me trouble. So I lift it up, get into the wood. Now I'm too far away from the line. We'll come back. A little careful on that. And then I'm not careful anymore. Okay? Now, if you've got a chisel, you don't have to make that many cuts. But when you're too cheap, like the show here, you just have to make that many cuts. And then you knock this out with great care and precision. And if you're a furniture maker, this always makes you a little sick. And now, what is a framing hammer? One of the realities of a framing hammer is this long, fairly straight ear. It's not the curved ear that we use for pulling nails usually, because this actually is used for gouging and sculpturing wood. We use it like a tomahawk or a hatchet. So you can literally get this pretty well down. So that's there. Now the board with our numbers should come in here and fit fairly well like this. That's gonna, I'm riding a bit high here, so I should come back and clean this out a little bit better down in the bottom. I've got some bumps sticking up and a knot right here that I'll take out. So that you need to clean off a bit because we do want this to fit down fairly flush as you go down. In fact, I should have made that just a little deeper. Now, once you're boxed in there, and we can just simply put 2 nails in on each side. If I can get these to actually work. Now, have any of you never nailed before that are going to be in this contest? Yeah? No? Oh, you're all used to this. If you've never nailed before, you do not hold the nail like this. If you hold the nail like this, you got me on the camera there? Hold the nail like that. It's really nice. It stabilizes it, but that really smashes the heck out of your finger when you hit it. Okay? You hold the nail way up here so that when you miss, it knocks your finger off before you smash it. Okay? You never, the guys won't admit to that that's what they're doing, but also the long hammer, thanks to Stanley, is here to give more power for swinging. So you actually hold on back here for framing work. Part of that is we don't care if it's a little bit sloppy. We're not building furniture. And then we're simply going to come back. Now we're not quite deep enough to get down there, so we'll open this one up a little bit. Go down just a little. That's why I didn't go down flat. I wasn't quite deep enough. Again, here, if I cut this one, I'm going to fall off on this side. So it's actually better turn around, cut it in this direction so that you don't fall off. And now, before we sort of showed you how watch this moves, but now you'll notice there's no movement at all on the side. That's your racking strength, okay? And done very cheaply, a lot cheaper than a piece of 4x8. And we have less wood, less rot, a lot of good things. Now this is not a new invention. This is the way, I remember the first edition I ever built 50 years ago. This is the way we did it, is we let these in all the time. Then we forgot about that because we got so used to plywood and OSB and all this other stuff. Now that we have insulated sheathing that's non-structural, this will not hold the house up. This holds the house up, and this goes on top. Actually, the drywall does a lot, too, of holding the house up. So the very first contest is to do just that, but you're making a bigger wall, which means you're nailing in from the ends, you're laying it down. You're going to need to look at your bundles. There's a, in your bag there, you'll find an X-Acto knife to be able to cut these bundles open. You need to identify your wood. So before we start the contest, we'll have the contestants lay out their wood. So you figured out what you got, okay? It's not really all that hard, but lay out the wood. You don't need to cut any of this lumber. It's already cut to size, okay? Except for after the strap is in, like I did cutting off the ends. So lay it out, don't nail anything, and then we'll get the contest underway. You got 20 minutes to get and the judging, by the way, if the judges want to listen for a minute, I'll tell them what they're going to be judging here. Now they're busy talking. Hey, judges. The judges are going to be looking for, particularly, is the wall square? So they're going to take their tape measures, and they're going to run diagonals to make sure those 2 diagonals fit. They're going to see if your let-in is flush and nice and flat. Is it too deep? Is it too high? And we'll be judging that. And then just see how well all the corners are nailed together. 2 nails in each of these studs. And you can always come up and look at my little sample here, or the wall up there if you need to check anything, and you have your book that has the dimensions in it. You have pencils, tape measures, everything. So who are our contestants? Get up, all of the contestants. And Silvio knows who you are, so if you don't get up, he'll tell you. Choose a station. We've got 5 stations. So choose a partner, choose a station. And then check out the white bags, have your tools basically in it. Get your circular saws out. Don't line up your circular saws yet. That's part of the contest. But just find your tools, find your knives, get your glasses, because you're going to need glasses when you start chipping and chopping. I guess that we're supposed to put on hard hats, aren't we? It looks better on television. There we go. Let's make real construction teams out of you. Everybody get their hard hats on there. So we need to know that you've got hard hats, you've got glasses, you've got your knives. And if you're missing anything, just shout at us. Now, I want you to take the knife, open your wood bundles, what you're looking for. In fact, Chris, can you help these guys identify which bundle they need to open? Yep. Which bundle are you looking for? The biggest one here? Or what is it? The glasses are not in your white sack? If they're not, I've got them here. You want to take that around? Glasses are on their way. It should be a square, and if you don't have a square there, we'll give you this one. You don't really need a square too much for this particular job. You do need a tape measure. Chris, the most useful thing right now is to identify the bundles they have to open.
So there's a stud, should be labeled 2x4x8.
It's which bundle? The 2x4 by what? Is it the big... Yeah, just so that we don't lose time in the competition figuring out which boards are which, we'll figure out, get you all laid out so you've got the right boards for building your wall. So is that it? So it's the big one with the 2x4s and that one with a long 1x4. Okay, so you got a big bundle with 2x4s down there someplace?
How high is the wall supposed to be?
Now here's that last bundle there has the long 1x4. That's your stringer, your diagonal, and a couple of the studs. So that one we need. You can throw that out in the middle of your floor. And then what other one do you need? Do you need this bundle of 6 2x4s? Huh?
This is your plate.
Okay.
72 3/4 is your bottom and top.
Okay.
Right?
You got 2 at your bottom top plate.
These are all your studs, no matter what.
Okay, why do I have 3 boards here?
It's one of them's in a 1x.
Ah, okay.
It's probably the strapping or the diagonal brace.
No, this is the 1x, but there's another 2x under it.
Yeah, there's
Oh, okay.
2 plates. So 3 plates.
3 plates? Extra? Oh, you're doing double on the top? Okay, Chris just informed me on the top you're doing a double header. We did a single header to show you how, but we're going to have a double header on the top of this one. So you have 2 of them for the top and 1 for the bottom, and then your diagonal pace. So you got 3 top and bottom plates? Let's see, you got 3 there. Now where are your studs? These are all your studs here. That's your studs? These guys have a set of studs, or are they missing that? No, they got a set of studs right here. Here's your studs here. Is that it? Okay, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 studs. You got 6 studs there? 2, 4, 6, yep. Okay. Just make sure you got the right pieces, and then we'll lay them out when we get the competition going. All right, so you need three top and bottom plates, and then 6 studs. So which one? If you look at now you should get your catalog out that has the plan in it. There you go. Just past the centerfold, you'll see the plan for challenge 1. Just the other side of the centerfold. Yeah, here's the centerfold here. Go one more page. And there's your plan. So we need to go this way is going to be 72 3/4. So make sure you got 3 boards that are 72 3/4. Okay, so you figured out your 3.
You need a measuring tape.
You don't have a measuring tape. You got a measuring tape now.
One now.
Okay, top and bottom plates are 72 3/4. Thank you. Studs are regular stud links.
You said it's going to be double top plate?
Double top plate, single bottom plate, and these are only 6-foot high walls, so that you can actually reach on the top. We had to use ladders for mine. We didn't want to put you up on a ladder.
She was looking forward to climbing the ladder.
Oh, well, there'll be a little bit, no, not in this challenge. You'll have to come back for one of the other challenges where we actually do go up a little bit.
Are we starting now?
No, we're not starting yet. We're just making sure everybody has got their wood, because otherwise we'll waste a lot of time unequally between the groups trying to figure out which is what. Is that 72 3/4? Do you have your booklet, the conference booklet? Look in the white bag. And just beyond the centerfold, there will be a plan. There it is. So here's the 72 3/4 is the top and bottom plates. Now we're putting a double top plate on here. He didn't draw it right. And then this is the stud placement. And the studs are 6 foot long. Okay, you guys all figured out? Okay, we got this one. Have you figured out which one's which yet? That's 72 3/4. So that's the top and bottom. And then where's your studs? They're unpacked? Okay, so that's good. So you're ready to go? You guys got all your stuff here? You got all your stuff here. Why don't we get rid of this plastic and get it out of our way so you don't stumble on it. And you found your nails and your hammer. You're using the long spiral nails. Okay, figure out your nails. You have 2 different lengths of nails. What do we have on nails here? We have long spiral nails and longer spiral nails, I think. No, let's see. We got the very long screws. That's for later. Here's some more nails. So, yeah, those would be the construction nails to go through the 2x. Okay, and then there's smaller nails for putting the 1x4 in. Okay, you guys all set? You found your nails. You got your plan. Got your tape measure. He's cleaning the floor. This is good. You got your nails, your plan. You got it all figured out over there. Okay, I don't have to worry about you guys. All right. Is everybody set? Is our control board set and ready? Yes, we're ready there. Cameras are ready. The cameras are still going here. Okay. Okay, as you see on the wall here, it says 20 minutes. So that's the time you've got. It should be plenty, but we'll count down and you stop when it's over. But we've got it, then we'll have to finish yours up if you haven't finished, because the next step needs your wall. But make sure you have your plan out. Do you have your plan out? Because you got to get the dimensions right. It's in the sack there. It's in the book. In the sack there is a book. Just past the centerfold is the plan. You'll need that for laying out your studs. Just past the centerfold. See it? Now that plan does not show a double header, Chris, and we do want a double header. What?
It's not going to work.
It's not going to, what's not going to work?
No, because the 72, there's no overlap. So there's 3 plates at
So do
It
you,
doesn't overlap anything. It's not long enough.
it's not long enough.
So it's a single top plate from now on.
So it's a single top plate. I've just been informed you're getting a single top plate. Has everybody understood that? Single top plate, not a double, because there's a length problem here, so we're cheating. Okay, single top plate, not a double, just a single. Got that over here too? Single top plate on the top. Official decree by our designer. Okay. Then it's time to go in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's build. You got 20 minutes. No smash fingers. No cut fingers. Slow down if you have to. Now I see various techniques being used that are all good. You're doing the top and the bottom plates and measuring them and marking them at the same time. Guys know what they're doing here. That way, it's exactly the same. The only problem with that technique is if you make a mistake, it's the same mistake on the top and the bottom. At least the board's straight, but it's not in the right place. Now, and then you got to remember that what you're marking usually is the center of the stud, with the exception of the one on the ends. Huh? Well, we're actually starting our 24 measurement here. And so this is 24 from outside to center, and the other one is whatever is left over. That's always the reality in a house. The other end is whatever. That's an official dimension on a design, whatever. Now, I should mention, as I hear the banging starting, and we're going to ask one of our fellows to help out. We have earplugs for anybody who doesn't want to hear the hammering. You want to pass those all out?
Anybody?
Thanks from Hydro One. We have earplugs. That's all because of their noisy electricity.
Set the line, guys.
Now, if you've never hammered much before, one of the nice things about spiral nails is that as you hammer it in, it spins around, which means it straightens itself back out. So if you're bending spiral nails, you're really bad. Good stuff. And it often helps when your partner holds the back end of a board you're nailing on. So while he's nailing, you should go down to the other end and hold the board, and it doesn't run away. Now notice, while you're nailing, he's holding the board. So when he's nailing, you should go hold the board, because then the board doesn't run away. You got to be a team all the way along. That's good. Now you see the real advantage of spiral nails. Every time you start to bend it, it turns itself around. Now, anytime you can get good enough that you can move your hand back on that hammer, you'll find you have more power. And that's why these particular hammers are framing hammers. One, they're very long. And that gives you more power when you can swing, but of course you got to be able to aim it right. So once you get used to the aim, you choke up here till you get the aim right, and then move back, and you'll drive those nails a lot faster. And you notice the waffle head, you don't build furniture with this kind of a hammer. But the waffle head keeps it from sliding off the nail. Isn't it a nice sound when it starts to sound solid and you know you're going in? Chris. My eyeballs may be distorting it, but run a tape on this thing and see if these guys got the right boards in the right place. I think the wall's tapered. "13 minutes left. You're doing pretty good." That's okay. Now, even though you don't have great big shoes, which you should have, put your foot over here. When he's going, now he's going to hammer up here. Get your foot back here on the back side, just right here, like that. And you can feel it. You feel how that helps him drive that in? Of course, work boots would be better. So you may not feel like you're doing a lot, but it helps to drive it. Everybody's coming along pretty close to the same here. Okay, you guys are getting down there. These guys on number 2 are actually squaring up now. Just to let you know, at 11:31, they're into squaring up. Now be careful when you're squaring up, because every time you move a little bit, remember you only need to move half the difference. Now you still got a board to nail in there, don't you, or is that one nailed in? That one's nailed in? Okay. So you did, are those on centers, or you're off on the edge of the board? What's your center?
They say put them on the edge.
You put them on the edge?
Yep.
Yep, you're right. You drew it out right. Nope. Yeah, that's great. You're dead on. You're dead on. You're dead on. You're dead on. You're dead on, man. You're dead on. Okay. Okay.
Okay, so, it's not square, Mike, it's not square. What is it? It's off by,
You move it by half of what it's off.
so we gotta push your end down.
We'll push things diagonally. Take the long end and squeeze it in. Yeah, push it diagonally. But you don't want to move it much. So if it's too long or too short, you just push diagonally half the distance.
4.5, okay, good.
Okay, make sure your diagonals are good before you put that cross piece in. Okay, now you got to hold that wood steady to mark it off. So it gets marked off all the way. Everybody's into squaring up, that's good. The diagonals are going in. Now, don't forget to mark that diagonal of yours before you take it off of there. Put a 1 and a 1 on the board, on the wall, so that you get the board back in the right place. Because if the board has a warp, you want to follow that warp. Now mark the end of that board and mark it. Yeah. Now the depth of that, yes, thanks for pulling the battery out. Pull the battery out when you're adjusting the depth. That's called unplugging a cordless drill. Okay, pull out your battery when you adjust the depth. And you want to get it just a hair deeper than the thickness of your strapping. Pull that battery before you play with the depth. And they're off and running. Glasses, you got glasses? Okay. You got to plug it back in. Turn it over and use the ears. That battery out. The battery. Now go a little bit against the grain this way and that way, and you'll find it a little bit easier. See, if you come, you see that ridge? See how that picks it up? It's easier to do that. You got a nail? You gonna hit a nail there? Are you gonna go that deep? Yeah?
Yeah, I'm gonna hit it. I know it.
We did it last night.
No, but he just put his nail too high, did he?
Look, look.
Yeah, you're up high enough? Yeah, you're gonna hit that one. Put some weight out there. That's enough, that's enough. Push it back and they'll pop. Push it back this way.
Now you can go back in and pull out the head.
And then, it didn't open, this one opened enough. You can get that. It's not,
It's not happening.
no, this one is. This one's going to go. This one, because these teeth can get in there usually pretty well. No, they're not going to go up. No, you're right. It's not happening. Whoops.
Let me see how.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, dig into the other one. Just dig right into the wood on the other one. Put your nail back after you cut.
Stand on this.
Let's do what you did before, but like a chisel. No. Take it here and dig in with the other one. Now, does that, before you nail it, you good? Are you good all the way? Okay, we got 3 minutes left. Oh, he's checking his square. Two minutes left. And station one is cutting off the ends. Station four had some nail in saw running into the nail problem, so they're catching up. You'll be able to slap that in really fast. Just make sure you're squared up before you put more than one nail in the cross piece. One and a half minutes. No pressure here, fellas. Nice. Here, take another hammer. Finish those nails off. Okay. You're done there. Pass your hammer to your neighbors so they might be able to use it. You want to give me that hammer? Give me that one. You guys going to need 2 hammers to move here faster. Put 1 nail in and then square it up.
2-inch nails. Here we do.
2-inch nails. We'll find you some. You got 2 hammers now, guys. 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, I'll give you 30 seconds more. Give them 30 seconds more over there. We're almost there. Give them 30 seconds more. 30 seconds for you guys that are almost finished. Can he reset the timer? That's the technological question of the day. I'll get you on my own timer here. Okay, guys, you got 30 seconds. Let's go. Oh, it's up there now. Oh, he gave you a minute. You got 57 seconds. Okay, you're done. You're almost done. Anybody need an extra hammer there? Let's give an extra hammer to this crew. Make sure they got 2 hammers. Pass me a hammer. I guess right. Cut it off really quick. You got 30 seconds. Get that saw out there. "23 seconds. Get your other side cut off. We're going to almost have everybody up. 1 station behind. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's all over. We had a little extended play time there, but okay, now we'll let the judges find out if you really got them on center, if you really got it square, and if you let that in flush. Remember, some of that wobble in the wall might be the floor. Okay, we're going to need to finish off this last one. You guys about ready? Can you nail that in? Go ahead and nail it in because we'll need it for the next challenge. You got it squared away? Or put 1 nail in, square it, and then drive it home. Yeah, put in 1 nail so that it moves what it's going to do, and then you can square it and put in a 2nd nail and it'll stay put. No, all the contestants get to keep their hard hats and their goggles and their earplugs if they use them and the gloves. Those you get to take away for participating. Do we have a prize here for the winner? I'm glad I asked. Good, we got them all built. Thank you, gentlemen, for finishing up there. Aren't you happy when in your real sites you don't have 3 judges running around measuring everything you did all day? Screwdriver and bit set. That's what we needed last night, huh? Oh, you got a lot on the inside. You should hit the grand deliberation over there. Spin around. Spin around and catch those guys. It's her shot, huh? You didn't get the shot. She's got the shot. You can tell by your head. Hey, these guys are actually debating it all. How are you set for volunteers for the other challenges? Getting there. You still need volunteers.
Yes.
We're still looking for volunteers for the other challenges today.
10:45, we start up here with the demo and then followed by the
You're right.
next one is more framing.
What is the next one?
Find your partner. Yeah.
Oh, the judges look like they have come to a decision here. Let me just take a look at what. Yeah, 10:45. Okay. What do we got?
Team number 5, Webakwe.
Which is all the way in the far end there, or all the way here?
Number 5's right here.
Oh, right over there. Okay. I'm looking at the numbers. They're all pretty close, huh?
It's just
the
we
total
came
score.
down to accuracy.
Ah.
16th out on
So it's-
square, and,
yeah.
And everyone else was a little
Okay,
bit
let me
further
just hold this for a minute. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, here we are. I'm just looking at the judges' scoreboard here where they're judging speed, accuracy, technique, and team spirit. That's all part of the judging. And the difference this time was in accuracy. And the most accurate of all these was Team 5. Where's my Team 5 here? From Webakwe. Come on up here, guys. Come on up. Jump up here with me. Can you make that up? We got stairs in the back if you're getting older than I am. Congratulations. You were dragging your feet a little bit there, but you picked it all up and you got it in accuracy. You get tool set, each of you. Thank you very much. Good job. Now, 10:45, we're going to pick up the schedule here a little bit because we're a little late getting started. 10:45, we're going to stand these things up, finish the framing, put the whole thing together like this, and do all of the smart wood stuff. Later on in the afternoon, we'll be dealing with other things. But for the moment, we're going to be throwing all the wood together. So 10:45, come back and join us. If you want to join the competition, win prizes, talk to Silvio over here someplace. And he's still looking for some people for later on. Thank you very much. Enjoy the exhibitions. Stop by and see what's going on.